Secretary, Department of Environment and Forest, Government of NCT of Delhi, Dr. Khan, who is the Additional PCC of Delhi, several officials of the Department of Environment and Forest who played a key role in bringing all of us here for International Biological Day and launching of United Nations Decade of Biodiversity, United Nations Decade of Biodiversity for Asia and Pacific. In other words, for the next 10 years, the emphasis is on biodiversity as recognized by the United Nations. Now, I don't want to take much time and don't want to give a 1-hour lecture to you on this important occasion, but I just highlight and bring to your notice the key aspects of biodiversity. As the students played the drama, I could see they understood fairly large aspects of biodiversity. I want to make it very clear to you, all of you, by giving a simple definition or a concept of biodiversity. All kinds of living organisms have biodiversity, in a simple definition. Now, the biodiversity is of different kinds. There are 4 kinds of biodiversity. One is the genetic diversity. You may ask me, what is genetic diversity? All the genes present in all the living organisms inhabiting this Earth planet is the genetic diversity. Then there is species diversity. What is species diversity? Different kinds of species found on this planet is known as species diversity. Then you have ecological diversity. That is, the different kinds of habitats that are on this planet. We have a different languages. It's a cultural diversity. You have different religions. You have a different, what you call, food habits, and so on. These all constitute the cultural diversity. Alright. What is the use of this biodiversity? Why we are celebrating every year the, what we call, International Biodiversity Day? And everyone now talks about biodiversity. What is that importance of it? Biodiversity is the nature's gift to mankind. I want to make it very clear, humans cannot survive without biodiversity. I would simplify this by giving what we call a simple thing, which I expected from the students to demonstrate to all of you, but they missed that, but they have gone to in situ conservation, ex situ conservation, and so on. The water you drink, the food you eat, the clothes you wear, and the shelter that you live in, and the fuel that you use for cooking, all derived from biodiversity. These are known as direct ecosystem services provided by biodiversity to the humankind or to humans. Now, in addition to this, there are indirect ecosystem services. What is that? Regulation of your climate and floods, purification of water. Man cannot live on this planet. These are all indirect ecosystem services. Now you can see how important the biodiversity is for mankind, not only for his survival, but also for his endurance. That means the species can exist for several thousands of years to come. Now the issue is, why we should celebrate every year? Why should we celebrate International Biodiversity every year? I want to tell you very important thing. Whenever we celebrate International Biodiversity Day at Yamuna Biodiversity Park, you have a downpour of the precipitation and making all arrangements a little bit changed. Now I want to tell you what is called precipitation. Very frequently you find in Delhi, in some pockets you find heavy rain, in some pockets there is no rain at all. You find heat is generated. Now this is because whenever you have a biodiversity, your cloud formation takes place, precipitation occurs. Whenever you have a concrete jungle, when I say concrete jungle is also needed for the development and for the survival. You find what you call heat islands. Heat islands are responsible for the localized distribution of rainfall in Delhi, which probably very few people know why rain occurs in Yamuna Biodiversity Park and why rain does not occur elsewhere. So these are the points which I want to say. What I want to say is, the biodiversity that sustains mankind is threatened, and the word threatened has been demonstrated by action by some of our young students today. I'm very happy to see that. It's threatened. What do you mean by that? We are losing biodiversity at a very rapid rate. What do you mean by losing? What do you mean by losing of biodiversity? We are losing species, ecosystems are vanishing, communities disappear at a very rapid rate. According to IUCN, 10,000 species have entered into red data books during the last 10 years. The record. 10,000 species entered into red data books. You may ask me, what do you mean by red data books? They are red in color? No. They are the books which contain species that are either extinct or likely to become extinct or endangered. Now let me tell you, I would recall you a few things which you probably might have read or might have seen in the movies. About 65 million years ago, mass extinction took place. 65 million years ago. What happened in that mass extinction? 80% of the species just disappeared with one event, including your dinosaurs. That's why I told you might have seen some movies. And most of these 80% of the species disappear were animals. Now, what was the causal factor for this mass extinction? It is extraterrestrial, not on the Earth planet. It is come from the outer space. That is, asteroids. Asteroids have just killed all this entire biodiversity. Now, the scientists have predicted that the next mass extinction has already begun. What do you mean? We are losing thousands of species on this planet today. Now, this extinction is not caused by extraterrestrial event, but caused by what? You can answer this question. Caused by humans. Because of humans' greediness. The mass extinction that has begun today on the Earth planet is caused by humans. I'll give you an example of what happened, both in Delhi and both for the country. We have about 17,000 species, plant species in India, of which 2,000 species are threatened. Now what happened to Delhi? Our reach used to support a luxuriant forest, Delhi reach, and used to have about 500 plant species, native species, which are mostly fruit bearing, and then used to provide a lot of support for animals and birds. When you go to the ridge now, what you have? How many of you have gone and seen the ridge today? Very closely, not by traveling in a car or in a bus. If you go, you have just one species from Mexico. That, along with a little bit urbanization, has removed all our 452, 500 native plant species. This is the scenario in Delhi. Now the question comes is, with this mass extension has already begun, how to protect this biodiversity? If biodiversity cannot be protected or cannot be sustained, the survival of the humans also is questioned. The humans also will disappear along with the what you call biodiversity. Now, why I am asking this question is, first before I ask this question, I must tell you, what are the 4 major factors that are leading to the mass extinction? Tropical deforestation. Second is habitat conversion or habitat change. That is, forest can be converted into agriculture, agriculture is converted into housing sites or industrial sites. This is called habitat conversion. Land degradation. And the last one is the biological invasions that I told you the example. Prosopis flora has removed all our native species, including our famous plant of Rajasthan, that is Prosopis area. Now, I am just, since this park, this these biodiversity parks are created by DDA, I must make it, and owned by DDA. And the university comes in picture in providing what you call, in developing these through help of what you call scientists. Otherwise, all these biodiversity parks are the concepts developed by EDA. Now I would ask a question here, because we have an engineering member here. Can we sustain biodiversity while constructing the houses for Delhiites? This is a very important question. While we construct the houses for Delhiites, but still we want to sustain the biodiversity. It is a challenge. If you ask me, the answer is yes. How? Then we look into the concepts which have been demonstrated to all of you by the drama which played by our young students, that is on-site and off-site conservation strategies. What is on-site? Wherever the biodiversity exists, you declare that as a protected area. To range, you can still develop a biodiversity, or you can develop what you call species. You can grow the species. Now, for example, the Ministry of Environment and Forest has declared something like 900 odd national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. These are the on-site, what you call, conservation of biodiversity and maintenance of it. For example, our government of Delhi, National Capital Territory of Delhi Forest Department has declared 2 wildlife sanctuaries in Delhi, Asola and Patti wildlife sanctuaries. These are all protected areas. These are legally protected and maintained by the concerned Forest Department. Now the question is, off-site, means outside the native range of the biodiversity, can we conserve the biodiversity? Yes, you can conserve the biodiversity, but at present, the strategies are only for the species, not for the communities, not for the ecosystems. For example, we have a zoological park, that is an executive off-site conservation. Botanic gardens are off-site conservation. Now you may ask me whether the parks, which recreational parks, are also conservation. Recreational parks are not meant for conservation of biodiversity. They are meant for essentially for providing recreational values to the people. But today, some of the recreational parks are also become conservation oriented. Now, I must tell you, although the Delhi Development Authority, its sole objective is to build the city and construct houses for all of us, but they have ventured into what we call off-site conservation measure by establishing what we call unique biodiversity parks. These biodiversity parks are nothing to do with the botanic gardens, are nothing to do with the what we call other recreational avenues. These are more like national parks and nature reserves. Why I am calling them? You just not only preserve here or conserve single species, you preserve ecosystems, you preserve biological communities. If you walk through the University Park, you see 20 different communities exist, which are self-sustaining. And because of these communities, you find many animals come and exist here. Now, let me tell you, I think our engineering member will tell more about this, what he is doing it. I would summarize it in one single sentence that in the next few years, probably Delhi Development Authority is going to develop and sustain biodiversity parks over an area of 10,000 hectares. It will take time, but they have this plan and strategic belief. Now, this won't be enough to conserve or sustain our biodiversity. You need something more, which you have to do it. You need to change your lifestyles. You need to change your attitudinal aspects. If you have the same mindset that I should have 10 cars, alright, one in the morning walk, and another one is coming to the school, and third one, you cannot sustain this biodiversity. You must change your lifestyles, change your attitudes. In what way? In a way that can lead to establish sustainable human societies. When you establish a sustainable human societies, humans are rest assured that they live for a longer period, and at the same time allow the biodiversity to sustain itself. A sustainable society permits you that you live in harmony with the nature. You can't have 25 flats in Delhi. If each one of you have an ambition having 25 flats, where is the space for the biodiversity parks to come up? So you need to have what you call live in harmony with the sustainable human societies. When you establish a sustainable human societies, humans are rest assured that they live for a longer period, and at the same time allow the biodiversity to sustain itself. A sustainable society permits you that you live in harmony with the nature. You can't have 25 flats in Delhi. If each one of you have an ambition having 25 flats, where is the space for the biodiversity parks to come up? So you need to have what you call live in harmony with the nature.